Hello friends, welcome to Online Web Tutor. I am Sanjay. In this video we'll see a very interesting topic of CodeIgniter 4, and that is to create a custom Spark command. This command will accept user inputs and then we'll save those input values inside our database table. So the whole concept of creating a custom command we'll see inside this video. If I back to editor, so inside last video we had seen a great detailed concept about creating a Spark command inside that video. So this is all about the continuation of previous video. So as we know that in this video, if I back to slide, so here we'll create a custom command and that command will accept user inputs. And those inputs will save inside our database table. So first thing first, we'll create a table, and to create a table inside this application we need to use the concept of migration. So let's say that I will create a user's migration. By the help of that migration file we'll create a database table. Then we'll create a custom command. By the help of that command we'll read user inputs and save inside users table. Let's go to project terminal. So here I'm inside a CodeIgniter for setup. So if I type php spark, press enter, now it has provided all about our Spark command. So I will use a command called make migration to create migration file. So let's use that php spark make migration. And we want to create a users table, so it will be something called create users underscore table. If I press enter, it has created a migration file inside migrations folder. Back to project editor, go inside app, database, migrations, and here we have our first migration file. So in this migration class we have two methods called up method and down method. To create a table structure, we'll use this up method. So here I will use dbForge instance. So this forge I will call first method, that is add field, second method this forge, and it will be add primary key, and the third method, that is this forge, and it will be create table. So I will use first all about this add field method. So by using this add field method we can specify the number of columns and then properties. So let's say that inside users table we want an ID column, name column, and email column. And if we're talking about its properties, so ID, let's say type equals to int, auto increment. Here it will be auto underscore increment. So auto increment equals to true. Next we have called constant equals to 5. This is all about the field length. Next we have one more property, that is unsigned equals to true. So successfully we have all the properties for this ID column. Now next go for this name field. Inside this name field we'll store string values. So first type, that is type equals to varchar, which will accept the string values. Constant, let's say 150 characters. Next let's say null equals to false. It means the name field is required. Now I will copy all the properties of this name field and paste it in front of this email field. So also this email field is going to contain the string value, so type equals to varchar, which is okay. Next we have the constant. So let's say instead of 150 characters I will pass it as 80 characters, and null equals to false. This means that email field is also required. Now all we have done with the fields of users table. Go inside add primary key method. I will pass here as simple as that ID. It means from this table structure I want to make this ID column as a primary key. Next we have create table method, and the table name we want to generate as users. Go inside down method. Again I will use the same object this forge, but this time we'll use drop table, and in this case we'll pass the table name. So this up method will be used when we call migrate command, but when we use our rollback command, so in that case actually this down method will be called. But in this video we'll use only this up method. So finally we have done all about the table structure of users table. Go inside project terminal, and if I type the command called php spark migrate, press enter. Running all new migrations, and as you can see, migrations completed. If I go inside our database, click on database, and now as we can see that inside this database, now we have a users table. If I click on that table, go to structure, so in this table now we can see ID column, which is a primary key, and also it is an auto incremented column. Next we have the name field for name value and email field for email value. So successfully now we have designed our table structure. Now next we need to create a custom command that will accept user inputs. So to create a custom command inside CodeIgniter 4, if I back to project terminal, let's type php spark. So inside generator section we can see here we have a command called make command. Look at its single line description, it generates a new Spark command. But before executing this command, if I go inside editor, so we can see that inside this app folder we don't have any commands folder. So commands folder automatically gets created when we execute make command, because make command is going to create some custom command files, and those files will be stored inside commands folder. Let's create our custom command file. Back to project terminal, I will use make command, so php spark make command, and then we need to pass our command class name. So let's say that user, and I will pass suffix as a flag. It means it will generate user command.php. Press enter. Now we can see that user command.php file has been created inside commands folder. And now this folder is available. Go inside that, open up this file. So we can see that this is a class which is extending from base command class. And here we have some pre-built skeleton, like here we have a group name, command name, description, uses, arguments, options, and a run method. Let's do all the settings of this custom command. So if I go and first I will change this group section. So if I go here and type php spark, so let's say that I want to create our own custom group so that the custom command will be go inside that. So here I will go here and let's say custom command. So this is all about the group name. So after changing this, if I go and type again php spark, so hopefully now we'll see a new section, means a new group, that is custom command, and here we have the command name. Let's go back to editor. So here we have the command name, so in this case I will call it as user :create. Go to description, let's say this command will create a user when we fill or when we provide user inputs. Save this change, back to terminal. Again if I type php spark, go inside our custom command section, so we can see user create is the command name, and look at its single line description. This command will create a user when we provide user inputs. So let's open the help manual of user create command. So php spark help user create, this is our own created command. So in this case only we have uses and description, but right now these two sections are also not meaningful. Back to editor. So if I go inside uses section, so we can see here we have command name. So instead of this dummy value, let's say user :create, And also along with that we have two values, that is argument and options. So I'm not going to use these options. Instead we will pass all the user inputs dynamically at prompt. It means when the user will go and use our custom command, hit enter, then at prompt at runtime we'll take all the values. So I will go inside this run method and I will use the concept of CLI, because by the help of prompt we will read the user inputs like name and email. So I will use CLI, and this class is already imported at the top of this class. So by using CLI, and it provides a method called prompt. Look at here, we need to pass field here, means field name. Next we'll have some options and validations. So let's say that the first I will go and put, let's say, the name, or simple, let's say provide full name. And let's again I will go and put another prompt, and this is for, let's say, provide email. So if I save this change, go here, let's use our user create command php spark, and if I type the command name, that is user:create, if I hit enter, now as we can see that it is asking for full name, and this is known as CLI prompt. So here let's pass a sample value. Again it is asking for email address, so again I am passing a dummy value. Press enter. So successfully now we have created a custom command. By the help of that we can take the user inputs. Now the next task is that we need to read all these values. So to read all these user inputs, what I will do, go to editor, and here, so this is for the full name. So after getting the value inside full name, let's store inside our name variable. For email address, let's store inside our email variable. And for the time being, let's say that CLI write, I will use a write method to write our message into CLI prompt, means CLI console. So here let's say user details equals to, if I type name here, let's concatenate value, and here email concatenate with email variable. If I save this change, back to terminal, and again if I type the command called php spark user create, press enter, it is asking for full name, email address. Now as we can see that user details, name is this value and email is this value. So successfully now we have taken the user inputs and also accessed all those values. But before saving these values inside our table, also we know that from this table structure this name field is required and also this email field is required. But if I go and use this user create command, let's say php spark user create, if I press enter, if I will not pass any value, then as I can see that I go successfully into the email section. But we want some validation here. It means user must provide its full name and the email address value. So to provide the validations over user inputs, I will go inside this prompt method, and here in the second value, this is all about the default value. If I go here, let's say test, and for email, let's say test@gmail.com. Back to terminal, and if I use the same command php spark user create, now we can see that provide full name, and here we have the default value. So if we pass any new value, then the new value will be taken, otherwise this default value will be used. So I will not pass this full name, press enter. This is all about the default email address. So let's pass a new email value, press enter. So we can see that this is the default value what we have passed, and this is the new email address. So second option of the spot method is all about to pass the default value. In the third, we can pass the validations. So as we know that the name field is required, so double quotes and I will pass the required form validation rule. Copy that, put it here, back to terminal. And one more thing, this time I will not pass the default value. Go here, let's again use PHP Spark user create asking for full name, but this time if I will not pass any value, then as we can see that the provide full name field is required. It means we must need to pass the full name value. If I pass that name, go to email value. If I will not pass any value, look at here, this is all about the email field validation. But in this case, if we pass any value, as we know that this is not a valid email address, but successfully this email has taken. So inside this email field, we need to add one more validation, and that will be something called valid_email. It means we'll accept only the valid email address value. Back to terminal. Let's say PHP Spark user create. So the full name is required. So let's pass my name here. Press enter. Email field is required. Something dummy value and must contain a valid email address. So as we can see that all working fine. So now we have the points covered as the table structures design, created a custom command and also accepted the user inputs. Now next we need to create a model file which will bind our data with this users table. So back to project terminal. So let's create a users model. PHP Spark. So from generator section we'll use that command called make model. It generates a new model file. So PHP Spark make model and I will call it as user. Let's pass a suffix here. So it will generate user model.php. Back to editor. Go inside directory structure. So app models and here we have user model. Inside here, look at here the table name users, so it is okay because in this case we are using users table and also the primary key column is ID. So the next step, let's go inside user command because after taking all these values, instead of printing, we want to save inside our table. So we need to load this user model inside this user command. So go at the top. So let's say use app models, and from models we want to use user model. Now next we need to create an object of that. Go inside run method. So instead of printing, let's say user object equals to new user model and we will use the insert method. So by the help of this object we will call insert method. So to create any user for this users table, we need only two values, that is the name field value and the email field value, because this ID column is a primary key and also it is an auto incremented column. Go back to editor. So in this insert method, I will pass an array and let's say name, and this name field is coming from this name variable. Next we have the email and this will be read from this email address value. So successfully, and here let's say CLI :write and let's say user created successfully. So this statement will return a true value when the data will be saved, otherwise it will return a false value. So what I will do, I will go and wrap inside this if else block. So if, it means this will return a true value in case of success. So in that case we'll get this message, that is user has been created. Otherwise inside this else block, let's say CLI write method and let's say failed to create user. Back to terminal. let's say PHP Spark user colon create. This is our own created command asking for user input. I will not pass any value, validation is working. So this is all about full name and email address value. Email address value, press enter. So here we have some exception, that is allowed fields. Okay, so if we go inside our model settings, inside this allowed fields, we need to pass values. It means all the columns where we are inserting values, we need to pass inside this array. So we are inserting the values for our name field and email field. All we done, go here. Let's first clear our console. User create. So this is the user full name. Email address value. This is the email value. Press enter. User created successfully. If I go inside our table, click on browse here. So successfully, as you can see that now we are able to create our users for this table by using our custom Spark command. So successfully, this is all about the step-by-step tutorial to create a custom command. By the help of that, we can accept user inputs, read those values and insert into our table. So I hope this video has provided you to something new to learn. So please like this video, comment this video and also subscribe to our channel. So for this video session guys, thank you for watching and have a great day.